Saturday mornings when I hear the sound, I say, hey, hey, I live for them away, feeling half-crown.
Oh, welcome to Party Football Podcast, the podcast about all things Premier League. If you are new around here, please do like the content and subscribe to the channel, as it really does help us out. So, getting into it, lads, looking forward to Matchweek 22 in the Premier League. We're going to start Nottingham Forest against Arsenal. Arsenal 5-0 winners last week against Crystal Palace. Definitely needing to keep pace with the likes of Liverpool and Man City. 5 points off the top two there. We know about Arsenal, their poor run of form recently, and we had the 5-0 win last week. But City ground for Arsenal has proved a very difficult fixture. So they lost the last 3 visits to the City ground. You think they need to kind of put that right, get a result tomorrow. No matter if it's not pretty, that's fine. Just have to go there, get 3 points, start keeping pace with Liverpool and Man City, because obviously Man City have that game in hand. Johnny, do you want to start there?
Yeah, massive game for Arsenal. Every game from here on in is a massive for Arsenal. You have to win to keep the pace. It's a game that will probably suit Forest, especially with the speed they have in the counter-attack. Going to sit in, low block. So it's going to be a fantastic game. Very, very interesting to see. That's an unreal stat to think Arsenal lost 3 in a row there. Would have never thought that. So massive game, huge game for Arsenal.
Yeah, Rob, last season, obviously, it was the game, at the City ground, Nottingham Forest won 1-0. It was the game that clinched Man City the title and just confirmed Arsenal as bottlers, I suppose. Would that be weighing on Arsenal's mind? They're going to be looking to put things right?
It'll be in the back of their minds, to get a bit of revenge. But I think it's more so just standing up and getting back to winning ways properly. I know they bet Palace, but Palace let them walk all over them at the same time. Forest are no easy team, even though they're already they're in their second manager of the season. At any stage of the season, were they an easy team to play against? Big teams struggled against them. Big teams have still been bet by them. It's a very interesting game. It could literally go either way.
Yeah. Ocean, just touch on that. We see Man United go there a couple of weeks ago and lose 2-1. We've talked about Arsenal needing to win. Will that just play on Nottingham Forest into their hands? Just sit back, play on the counter attack that we've seen last season. That's exactly what happened. Or will Nuno have them kind of going out playing actual football against Arsenal?
No, I don't think so. I think they will have to sit back. I think Johnny made a good point that they have pace in the team, but they're missing a lot of players as well. They're missing the likes of Aurier, Bowley, Sangare. Ayanawi is still out. I think Alanga could be missing this game, so there's some key players for them. Chris Wood is a good player, and he's shown good form lately. He's getting a few goals in lately. There's no denying, but I don't see anything other than Forest kind of sitting back, letting Arsenal attack, because that's what teams have been doing to Arsenal lately. They've been letting them attack, counting them on the counter attack, letting them kind of pass themselves into submission. Arsenal, teams have read Arsenal well, especially the last few months. So I think Arsenal will go in all guns blazing. They have to showcase what they've done after a 5-0 win. They have to show that they still have it. So I think it'll be a tighter game than people are predicting, to be honest with you. But I don't really see. I don't see a Forest kind of dominating, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, all right. Speaking of predictions, we'll jump in there. We'll go with Johnny first. What's the predictions?
Forest.
Okay, Rob.
I think Arsenal by a couple of goals in a relatively scrappy game.
Right. Oisin?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rob on this. I think it'll be fairly scrappy. I don't think it'll be high marginal games.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be a goal. I think it might be it'll be a dirty old game. I think it'll probably be hopefully 2-1 Arsenal. But yeah, I can see Forest putting up a dogged, dirty defensive display. All the D's for you there, lads. Right, speaking. All right, next.
Absolutely no one thought of that until you said it there.
Yeah, I don't know why it scared me. Anyways, all right, moving on then. We're going to go to Craven Cottage. Fulham against Everton. Both teams in miserable form. Both teams only have 1 win in the last 5, and of course, Fulham's last win in the last 5 was against Arsenal. Everton, we just seen losing, getting knocked out of the FA Cup to a Luton Town winner there during the weekend. So they're, we talked about their good form after getting their 10-point deduction and they bounced back really well. But they've seemed to, I think maybe Luton Town have been on a little good run of their own because they're only a point behind Everton now, and they do have a game in hand. So, if Everton, don't win this game, Luton turn around and win, then Luton are out of the relegation, and Everton are back in the relegation zone. So, Rob, start with you there. Everton need a result here. They need to kind of just bounce back from the defeat.
What they need is another points deduction to get the form back up, get the fight back into their team. It's like you said that both teams need a win, and I was going to say one team has to win, but it'll probably end up being a shitty draw. But it's hard to know. Everton have been so hit and miss this season, but so have Fulham.
Well, their away form is much better than their home form. Strangely enough, now
it's very bizarre.
Home, so and
it's not the worst thing in the world. When I know every team wants a good cup run, but when you need to focus on Premier League survival, then being in as little competitions. So it might come against Luton. I know it's an extra possible 2 games maybe, but that extra game it could be a needed rest coming into off the part of the season.
But we talked about Fulham a couple of times. Their form is incredibly frustrating, I'd say, to be a Fulham fan, because they're just up and down, up and down. There's no consistency to what they do. I don't really understand how they play football. It just, I don't really see how they progress, really. It's just the same thing, one step forward, one step back.
Yeah, I think you're right on that one. Considering the kind of form they showed last season, they were right up there in terms of where the middle bracket was in the table. They were performing quite well. They've had a few injuries in and out, a few suspensions here and there. But I think, as you said there, the form, it's really, they haven't maintained a consistent amount of form. So one win in the last 5 games, like they could very well go on, win next 3, 4 maybe, or get a result in the next 3 or 4. And then they'll drop off again. So they need to find that consistency in their play because they got some decent players.
Yeah, we've seen them not too long ago. They got back-to-back 5-0 wins.
Yeah, exactly. And what's happened, and it's funny what has happened since then. The one goal,
they lost Liverpool then, but they ran Liverpool quite close then after that. Johnny, like Marco Silva, he's been into a few teams in Premier League now, and he doesn't. It's kind of the same thing with him. Like, there's not really any progress with the teams he manages. Is it just his style of play, or is it resources that are available at the teams he's at, or?
Yeah, well, like you said, it's happened a few times now with him. He seems to do quite well to a certain extent and find his ceiling fairly quickly.
There's a low ceiling to his games.
Yeah, but you do see with Fulham there, like they did push Liverpool close in the League Cup there as well. Yeah, so it's hard to know with Silva. Fulham are a big club enough, so
I don't think they're really dangerous.
Sorry to interrupt you, Johnny. But how did Marco Silva turn down the Saudi club job?
I agree. I was going to bring that up.
Well, you have to admire it at the same time, though, right?
You do. You look at both sides.
But he's never going to be a top man. He could have went over and come back, like. I think he could have missed the boat, like, at this stage. But continue.
I think more than anything, is so evident of what Mitrovic did for that team last season. Paramount to a lot of their form. They haven't Raúl Jiménez is just not in the same.
We talked about it before. Like, he's a 5-goal season kind of player.
Yeah, and you got 15-20, so they've missed that hugely.
Yeah, definitely. And look, a goal scorer is so hard to get. We've said it probably every episode of this podcast. So they're another team and another club. Like, and Rob's dead right in what he said of Marco Silva. Why didn't he go out there? Fulham are another one of those clubs in around the middle. You think, well, they don't have enough money to push for Europe. They're probably too good to go down.
Yeah.
Everton probably there now. Well, they're not too good to go down now, but
I think Palace are the closest.
Palace prime example of that. And so I imagine, like you said, it's very frustrating to be a Fulham fan.
Mm-hmm.
This game can go either way, really, at the weekend.
Yeah, well, jump in there, Rob. What's your prediction?
Oh, you've got me there. 1-1.
I'm going to give them their dues. I'm going to take a risk on them and say they'll win 1-0.
Johnny?
Yeah, I go Everton as well.
Everton as well, right? Yeah, probably. I'm kind of getting really sick of Fulham, so I'm going to go Everton win, just because I like Sean Dyche.
Because Fulham whooped you a couple of weeks ago.
It's a fairly fair understanding of it,
yeah. Right. Moving on then, we're going to go to Luton Town at home to Brighton. I can see this being a really good game. We know Brighton's their way of football that they like to score, but they always like to concede as well. We've seen in the FA Cup as well. They were 2-0 up. Sheffield United brought it back to 2-2, and then second half, Brighton ran away with it. I mean, Sheffield may be unlucky. Bogle conceded 2 penalties. But anyways, that's it. Moving on. So, and we've seen Luton as well winning late on at Goodison Park, which is a huge result for them. And now they have Man City next in the cup. So yeah, I can see this being, another really good game. I can see it being high scoring. I can see, goals for both teams. And like we touched on with the Everton game, Luton are just 1 point behind Everton, and they do have a game in hand, which will be, I think it's against Brentford. It could be against in a couple of weeks' time. But they can find themselves marching up the table. They're in good form. I think they are. What was it? They have 7 points in their last 5 games, which for Luton Town isn't bad in the Premier League.
It's fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, so I should start with you for that one. Tricky game for Brighton.
Tricky game for Brighton, but I think poor Luton are finding a Brighton team that are in a decent amount of form. The last 5 games they have beaten the likes of Spurs in there as well. Drew against Wolves, a very decent Wolves team. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they beat Stoke in the FA Cup, and they they beat Everton. So I don't think Luton will get a result, but I think they'll run them close. I think Alfie Doherty on the left, he's a right wing. Left-footed right wing. He's playing left wing back, and he's getting his.
He looks like such a geezer, man. I don't know how. I know he's hard to be a Premier League player.
Yeah, and he's doing well. You got to give him his due. So McGuinn is back in the team now. He's performing well, which is good for Ireland, of course. Not that we get much use, but I think look, I had Luton to be bottom. I think most of us did.
Yeah,
I think everyone was saying they're going to beat Derby's record.
What a season it's turned out to be.
What a season for them, absolutely.
Even if, I think, in my opinion, anyway, even if they do go down, I think they've shown themselves very well.
Oh, 100%.
I think they've had a fantastic. I know where they are, but sorry.
Unless they go and lose every game of the season.
This is it, but I think
Kenilworth Road is just a tricky place for a lot of teams to go. We've seen so many teams struggle there because it's such a small pitch, I think, and it's easy to kind of crowd it and.
Crowd in the top as well,
the home crowd
is such an unexpected atmosphere as well because it's so small. It's quite misleading, but it's very close to the pitch.
Yeah,
the fans are very vocal. It seems to be a nice place to go to.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic story. Fantastic story. It could turn out to be an unbelievable season for them, and it is. Even if they go down third bottom, there's no shame in that whatsoever.
Definitely. Johnny, I wish you touched on some of the players doing well for Luton Town. I want to touch on Ross Barkley and Anders Townsend, the impact they've had for Luton. They've been phenomenal. Ross Barkley, we know, is a very good player, and Anders Townsend was a good player in his own right as well. He was retired, I suppose, and he came back to play with them, and he's proven fantastic. The two of them together have a really great link up. We've seen them often assisting each other for goals and stuff. So Luton were incredibly smart to get those players in, proven Premier League players, and it's proven. I know they're third bottom, yes, but they're still doing very, very well. They're still in a very good position.
And it's all context. You have to add context to all of this. Where we all thought Luton would be with their budget, with everything going around them, they should. A lot of people say they shouldn't be in the Premier League. To be where they are now, with the opportunity they have. They made some really astute signings. Barkley and Townsend have been 2 fantastic gets. Like you said, Premier League proven. They played at massive clubs. They know what it's like to grind out results as well.
Yeah.
Townsend played at a lot of teams like that. They knew how to grind out results and win games. Barkley at once upon a time was the next. He was the next big thing in England.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he's shown sparks of why we felt that way about him. Why everyone was so hot about him. He's the type of player that Luton needed, that spark that they needed.
Main man kind of thing.
Someone who can carry that as well, that bit of pressure. And then the other lads, they have a lot of men willing to work hard and work for each other. Yeah. That goes a long way in the Premier League. I know it's not going to get you very far, but it does go a long way, especially when the quality isn't high, especially with them lower teams, when the quality isn't very high. Who wants it more gets the job done more so than that.
Absolutely. Rob, with Brighton now, obviously we've touched on Brighton quite a lot during the season. A win for them will move them up to 6th place if results go their way as well. We talked about them, obviously, I just said we talked about them quite a lot, and they were strangely, they weren't getting results at times, and then other times they were just ticking along nicely. So, to find themselves still in this this hunt for European places. Like they're still in the FA Cup. They obviously did well in the Europa League. They're pushing, for top European places in the Premier League. This is they stumbled maybe at the start of the season, but they're kind of starting to find their feet again.
Yeah, I think we talked. There's a lot of negative talk about them, and rightly so, just from how they're playing. Like every game, they're liable to concede a goal where it's from trying to pass out of the box, and it's usually awful every time. It's like so obviously fucking like to blatantly pass it to opposition player. Like that shows how good they're doing to be talked about so badly for a lot of it. Well, by us it is. What do we know? And still be creeping up the table. And still on for a treble, technically. Never. Like this is an awkward game because like we're going to Luton Town, you're expecting the big team to struggle, but Brighton just score goals.
They just score
for the most part.
They can concede 2 or 3, but they can score 4 or 5.
2 or 3. So it could actually end up 6-1 or 6-2 last year. Jared Pedro's like a bag of hat-trick. He's got decent amount of goals this season now. So,
definitely.
Like poor Levin Ferguson has barely got a shoe in.
No, he's just been struggling with injuries, and it's been very unfortunate. Like, I still think he'll come good, and he'll. He's still
I think summertime he was probably the most promising Premier League player to watch because everybody seemed to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Sorry.
I was just going to say Estepinian coming back is a huge boost.
Huge boost. Absolutely.
He's changed it.
Yeah, definitely. Right, lads. Predictions. Rob, start with you.
4-1 Brighton.
4-1. Oshin?
I don't need to get scores, but still,
sure. Oh, we're not doing that anymore, are we?
Well, you can.
That doesn't matter.
I think it'll be a high scoring game as well. Unfortunately for Luton, I think Brighton just seemed to get a few goals. So I'm going to say 4-1 as well, actually.
Yeah, Johnny.
Yeah, I say Brighton 3-1. 3-1. Luton coming down off a huge win in the cup. I say Brighton get the job done.
Yeah, I think probably Brighton win as well. Probably 3-2. I think a good 5-goal thriller.
And it is also one of those games as well for Luton. It's not a massive game in terms of. It's not Arsenal, United, City. It's not any of the big boys going to town. That's no disrespect to Brighton, but it's not the same. Do you know when the big boys go to town, some of these small
clubs? It's not
crazy.
It's not a cup final, yeah.
Moving on to a game that promises lots of goals as well. It's going to be Crystal Palace at home to Sheffield United. I don't really want to. Remember that time we said everything has to be a low-scoring game, and it was 4-3 or 2-3.
Yeah,
game in a decade.
I don't want to talk too much. We talked about Crystal Palace quite a lot, especially last week. Sheffield United just knocked out the FA Cup 5-2 at home to Brighton. They brought in Ben Brereton Diaz, who seems to be a bright spark for them. So they're going to be fully focused on the league now and just trying to.
But again, it's not so bad being knocked out of the FA Cup when you're struggling.
When you're in that relegation fight,
you just want to focus on one thing.
Yeah,
which went against Arsenal last year. I remember when he got knocked out by Sporting Lisbon. You're like, oh no, focus on the league now. And lo and behold, we
were too focused.
Too focused, yeah.
Too much focus going on,
Yeah. Johnny, I know we've talked about Roy Hudson last week quite a lot. Do we think if Chris Wilder gets one over on him this week that he could go?
Yeah.
Silence.
I do. I think so. I think he could.
That's all of us thinking yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it, but I think so. I think the fans are already on a loss this weekend. I think he's done so. I think he's gone so. Put him in the box.
Yeah. Oh, should agree with that?
Well, I think, truthfully, I think so too. But it's not that I want Roy Hudson.
No, I don't want to see it happen.
I don't want to see it happen. Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind seeing Crystal Palace get in the relegation battle.
They're not far off it.
Their fans are so entitled. It drives me.
The main generally you wouldn't expect it to not to Roy anyways. But the fact they lost to Arsenal 5-0 in a heartless display, and then if they go and get beaten and beaten well, possibly by bottom of the table, then that's the two. That's the two biggest swings anyways. Losing to City rivals and then losing the bottom of the table in the space of a week and a half. While the fans are already on your back.
I think the only plus thing about it is Elise is meant to be back for this game. Now I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, but even then he won't be 100%.
But it'd be huge for him. Even the half an hour, that's huge for Crystal Palace, because between him and Eze, it's the only two performing Crystal Palace that they need those two to get something.
I think I read they only played 3 games together this season, 2 of them.
That's
really.
Yeah,
but just injuries. It's the way it is. Injuries.
Yeah, of course.
Look,
we're just so much reliant on them too. Like that. Yeah, once one of them goes, the whole tandem is off. Rob, quickly now on Sheffield United. I don't know where they really go from here. You can't really see any improvement. They did well, in fairness, after they went 2-0 down against Brighton in the FA Cup. They did very, very well to claw back 2-2 before half time. But just like that spirited kind of 20 minutes that they had, just second half was just gone out the window. Like they were just dead. They gave away a penalty, and then just all confidence went out of the team. You just noticed that they're just a team without any hope,
Brighton,
maybe any direct
Brighton
idea.
do allow. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Brighton do allow teams to get back in on them, anyways.
Yeah,
you could have 11 men behind the ball, and Brighton will still find a way to give you a goal, anyways. So, it's a tough one. Like the only way is up for them, really. Like they're still in. It's not as if they're just bottom with 0 points. Like they still have a good chance of getting out, but it needs to start now. A very good time to play Palace when it's disarray there. Chopped and changed Palace team.
Yeah,
right. It's an interesting one. Yeah,
it's an interesting one. Right, Johnny, predictions for that game.
Sheffield win.
Sheffield. Oisin.
Draw.
Rob.
I'm gonna put a 2-1 win for Palace.
Very good. I'm gonna go probably a draw. I just think Sheffield will probably need to get more out of it. All right, moving on then to Villa Park. Aston Villa versus Newcastle, what promises to be a very, very good game. Aston Villa only 1 loss in their last 14 home games. That was in the EFL Cup against Everton a couple of months ago. We've seen at the start of the season, Newcastle ran out 5-1 winners in the reverse fixture of this game. And we've seen Newcastle kind of hit a different form. Like they have injuries and stuff like that. And they're maybe coming back, getting a few players back here and there. We've seen obviously Joe Linton was just ruled out recently for a couple of months. He had surgery on his hip or something like that. But they're getting. I think he make it back for the end of the season, but I think he'll.
He's off riding the horse.
Jacob Murphy's back, but I don't rate him that highly, anyways. So Johnny, start with you here now. We looked at the job that Unai Emery's done at Aston Villa. They're currently 4th in the table, still on par with Arsenal and Man City. Obviously, Man City the game in hand. They're doing that as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, and I think it's how long does Eddie Howe get before the Newcastle owner starts saying, now not that they want Emery, but to saying, here, look what he's doing over there. How come you're not doing it here? And I know they got 4th last season, but with the money that's going in there and the infrastructure they want to set up, it'll be interesting to see if the season continues the same way, where it goes.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I was quickly now. Like, we talk about money and stuff. Like, they haven't really spent too much money because they've been talked about quite a lot lately. Their FFP for the last 3 seasons has kind of fucked them over a little bit. So they can't, unless they sell players, they can't actually buy players until next season. So, and we talked about
70 million on a fucking gobshite that was betting for the last 2 years. They didn't do their due diligence
spent
on that.
They spent how much on Isaac, how much on Gordon, how much on fucking...
Yeah, it's not that they haven't just told you.
They haven't spent. They have spent, but they haven't done their due diligence to find out where their spending stops compared to their FFP earnings, how much they generate in revenue, how shirt sales, tickets, etc., how much they can spend. So they've kind of fucked themselves on that one. Not that I'm going on a tangent. Like, the only reason I'm going to say this is because I said it about Ten Hag, and I still say it. Like, Eddie Howe has a lot of injuries, so we can't judge him on the basis unless he has a full squad.
That's
fair. I know you're throwing your eyes up. It's fair though.
I was just saying, because it's always reference to Man United. Everything comes back to Man United.
No, just a reference. Like,
every fucking episode. Anyways.
But so I can't not defend him in that sense. You can't judge him without a fully fit squad.
Now, but we're talking about a new ownership. Maybe wants to be a flagship. You don't know. We don't know what we.
But the ownership can't. The ownership can't judge him. Yeah, but the ownership can't judge him when he's not missing a whole skad. That's not like the ownership can't say you're fucked. like, okay, goodbye, because you're missing like 2/3 of your squad. Good luck, you're shy. Next
Well,
manager comes in to get the same result because they're missing
because
10
then
players.
you
You
become
can't
but we
judge
do
it like
see it
you're in
happening, though.
danger of becoming like Chelsea, like sacking managers after 10 months, 18 months, but still
But that's
splashing
football
cash,
now.
and then
that's because Harry Potter ran out of
that
spells.
managers don't want and stuff like that. Like that's a danger that Newcastle probably won't want. I think Eddie Howe is perfectly safe in the job. I think he's
I think
fine.
so too. Yeah.
Unless they go on a complete spiral, but I don't see it happening. But yeah, back to the game, anyways. Yeah,
It's interesting. I would put Villa as favourites for this game.
Yeah,
Even for that game at the start of the season, that was never it was never a hammer. It never seemed to be just the way it felt.
I remember that game so vividly. Like Aston Villa kept playing that really high line, and it must have been just new to them because they've perfected it throughout the season, and I think they have the most offsides like against them or like for them, like
in the favor,
opposition players
forced offsides,
yeah. They're miles ahead of everyone else. They just play it so well.
Isn't it brilliant? It's brilliant now looking back. It's brilliant now looking back to Sir Alex's interview after the game, saying about how good Villa
I was going to bring that up.
They got bet 5-1, and he goes on about how brilliant they were. And like everyone's thinking, like, that stroke really fucked him, like that aneurysm or whatever it was, that fucked him. But no,
genius.
He's dead right. Yeah, he was like he was impressive, but like you have to give it to Villa like 14 or 15 games at home unbeaten.
16.
Lost one.
They win 16 wins in a row, and then they lost to Everton.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
right.
Did they draw to Sheffield as well?
They did draw Sheffield. Yeah.
But you know what? I think Villa will be going for these cunts this weekend.
Yeah, I think it's proper revenge for them.
The
problem with it is they could try too hard and get caught out themselves. That's the only
tomorrow, isn't it?
Like we see Newcastle against Man City as well, like playing defensively and then breaking. All it takes is like Isaac 1-on-1, Gordon 1-on-1 are class.
So like Newcastle love that type of game. I love a nice physical game where they think they're going to get bullied. Like that's exactly what they want. Like so, and the Villa just try and play their own football, or do they try and go proper like physical head on? Like, it's very interesting. It should be it's probably going to be a game of the fixture list.
Definitely, I think so too.
Yeah, definitely. And you have seen their use of the high line, although they've stuck to it, has cost them as well. Like it cost them in Old Trafford as well this season too, and other times that season away from home. So
I think it outweighs. It works for them more so than it does.
I agree. I agree.
You live that way, you die that way. Like that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's just how Brighton play as well.
Yeah.
There's a pity with Aston Villa. Like we can't see how good they really are because of how bad their away form is.
Yes,
true.
Yeah, I mean, I know we talked about it. They don't reach the same heights, but like, they're still fucking fourth in the league.
I know it's hard, but it's
and they're still only 5 points off Liverpool, who are top of the league. So
and there's been
it is. I know it's not the same, but
and they were unfortunate for a lot of those away games too. In fairness, a lot of decisions against them, and a bit of luck went against them. But like you do make a good point that if their home away form was as good as their home, they'd be up there. Like as in like
or even close to it, like they'd be well ahead.
Yeah. Right, predictions. So, no, Shane, start with you.
I think it'll be a Villa 3-0 win. Or a 3-goal win, anyway, of some description.
I had that.
I think it'd be a strong win for Villa. I was thinking 4-1 or 3-0, but I'll just say a good strong win. I won't put goals into it this time.
Yeah, Johnny?
I'm going to say draw.
Draw, interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, for some reason I had a 3-goal Villa lead, Villa win. So I'm going to go, Villa win. Pretty comfortably, I think, this game. I think just Newcastle I don't know, look leggy or something, and Villa will just be all over them, raging.
They're missing too many players too.
All right, on to the Etihad on Wednesday. It'll be Man City at home to Burnley. Oisin, real quickly now on Burnley. Vincent Kompany needs a win. He needs to win badly. This is obviously not the game to do it. Or it might be the game to do it. Who knows? A dirty old 1-0. But you can just see City just running away with this game. I can see it probably being 5, maybe 6.
Oh, definitely. And I think this will be the first start back for Kevin De Bruyne. We get to see him back fully again. So, look,
I thought we had Sean Dyche there as a special guest.
My voice, nursing a cold for days. I think I'm not going to talk too much about it. City are going to obliterate these lads. I'm sorry, they're going to destroy.
Johnny, anything to add?
Kompany thought it'd be harder, didn't he?
He thought it'd be harder. Yeah,
doesn't get much harder.
There he goes. Well, I don't know. Could be him walking into Etihad. Coming out with 3 points. Could be,
We'll be coming out with 3 pints, maybe.
3 points.
John Rosaro. Fucking.
Brilliant.
Top tier. Right. Predictions.
I don't even know why I said that. I don't even know why I said that.
We'll leave it.
Right,
Rob,
City win.
predictions.
Don't you dare take that out.
Haaland is still out, isn't he?
Yeah.
Who?
Not that it
Well,
matters.
he's not Haaland.
Yeah, he's out.
I think if he was playing, I would have said that score would be closer to 10 than it would be to 5. But I'd say because City do like a good 5-0 win, don't they? So I'll go 5.
Yeah. Johnny?
Yeah, City 5-0.
Yeah, Oshin?
I'm not even gonna give a number. It's just going to be a hammer.
Yeah.
Nil.
Throw a dart at a dartboard and whatever you get, it could be that.
I think City will be slow. For some reason, I'm feeling City will be slow coming out, but I think they'll end up winning 5 or 6 0.
Yeah, they'll just once they get the one, they'll get the ball rolling.
Yeah, there you go.
It's just how early it goes in.
Yeah, exactly. Right, moving on. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium promises to be a good game. Tottenham at home to Brentford. We talked about Ivan Toney, all the buzz last week about him, all the slight controversy, whatever it was. But him being back for Brentford is such a huge boost for them. And don't get me wrong, Spurs now are finding their feet. They were unlucky against City there in the FA Cup. Goals shouldn't have stood in my opinion, but
agreed.
Fuck Spurs, so I don't really care. But they're getting Maddison back slowly as well. They're doing well. Richarlison has found some form eventually. After 2 years, he's found a bit of form. So he's scoring goals. Promises to be a very good game. Rob, start with you.
Yeah, it should be a very good game. I'm just going to touch on what you said about Tony being back, being big for Brentford. It's huge for the league. There's not a lot of out-and-out strikers in the league. Like anyone that plays a striker centre forward, they're all like, you have the likes of Nunez and Jackson and all these players, like even Son playing striker. They're not really strikers. Ollie Watkins, he plays striker. He's not an actual striker. But Ivan Toney is one of them, like an old-fashioned striker, so it's class having him back. I get excited now having him back, But Spurs are getting their full team next. Well, I know they're still missing a few midfielders, but that's due to Asia Cup and AFCON and that. So they're still back. Their back four is pretty much back together again, which is a very good back four. On the pitch, on paper, it's fucking ass. But on the pitch, it's good. I had
to figure out last season, but just this season, it hasn't really clicked for them.
No, well, at the start it did, but then it kind of went under a bit. But it's I don't think Brentford have enough in them to do the job. So I don't think it'll be too easy for Spurs either, but I don't think Brentford will have enough in it.
Yeah. Actually, quickly on Spurs.
Sorry,
go on, Rob.
No, I was just going to say that the hype of Tony being back just isn't going to be enough to go to Spurs.
Actually, you spoke about Maddison on his way back, but a player I want to talk about really quickly, Bentancur, him coming back for Tottenham was huge. We all seen last season before the injury how good he is. He's just an incredible talent. He's still pretty young as well. He's huge for them.
He's an athlete.
Yeah,
he's so dynamic. He's so good, and he was very unappreciated until he got injured last year, and then they realized, shit, he is actually shit. Having him back,
kind of aggressive edge to him that maybe Spurs lacked in the last couple of seasons. That bit of fight,
agreed.
Romero has it, but he's too much of it. He's a bit dirty cunt. But
who?
Your man
Romero.
That guy. Look, I think Bentancur, a trio of Bentancur, Bissouma when he comes back, and Maddison. That's a fucking very decent triangle in the middle of the pitch. You know what I mean? So, and then when Son comes back to the left, that's essentially the first team. Bissouma and Son, they come back from the respective tournaments. That's their full team back. As Rob said, they're back four. It is on paper, or you said it on paper. It's shit, but they have been playing really well. Doggy he had a great start, then he did a dip, but he's back up there again. His performances. Pedro Porro is just consistently
fantastic. Yeah,
they really do. Spurs all of a sudden have some really good players like Pedro Porro, Van der Ven, Vicario's class.
Vicario has kind of have a little bit of a dip, but he's still pretty young.
But that's because their back four was gone through. They don't midfield.
They don't.
I still think Kulusevski is a great player. Son is playing good stuff. but I'd still have Madison thrown in there as well.
You know what?
I think Pierre.
I don't really like Kulusevski. I don't know why. I think he's very selfish player. He just had the one move like turning on his left foot and shooting, and then obviously he gets the goal. If you're shooting,
I do agree with that. But when he is like he's in for someone so tall, he's very good in tight spaces.
Yeah.
He's fairly impressive.
He's technically brilliant because he's not very quick like either.
No,
but it's what he does with that half the yard in the half yard space. Like,
but I think as well, Richarlison suits Kulusevski. I've noticed in terms of the runs that Richarlison are making, because Kulusevski is very good at pulling the ball back and releasing that ball quickly and behind. Whereas like Richarlison kind of has a natural instinct, so they're feeding off each other. Whereas when Son comes back, that's a deadly front line as well as a midfield. So
Johnny, real quick now as well. Obviously Spurs started the season very, very well. Injuries happened. They slumped a little bit, but they're still knocking on the door of the Champions League. I think they're 3 points behind Arsenal now. Arsenal in third and 3 points behind Villa, who are in fourth. So they're still sticking around. You know what I mean? They're not going anywhere anytime soon. And with injuries and the Asia Cup and AFCON, all those players coming back, they're only going to get stronger again. This
season more than ever seems to be all about momentum.
Yeah,
that third and fourth will change a lot between now and the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
It's who's going to put together the longest run of games. Spurs have shown they can put it together. They fell off. What will stand to them is that Ange has done it, and I know we might all argue all day long about the quality of Scotland. He's still gone and done it over there. That doesn't mean he can win it in the league, but it means he can put a team together to go on a run of games. So that will stand to them, I think, especially with the players coming back in. Madison coming back in for the last bit of the season is going to be massive for them. It's going to be huge.
Absolutely. I really like James Madison.
Fantastic. Spurs really are a confidence team, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Just the way they play the football. So, this is a huge game. The next 3 to 4 to 5 games, massive for them if they're going to put up any sort of challenge to the top 4.
Yeah. Right. We'll move on. Predictions, Dan. Johnny, we'll start with you then.
Spurs win, but Tony will score.
Yeah. Oisin?
I think I agree with that Spurs win, and I'd love to see Tony score. I hope he scores in every game.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. Yeah.
He's
I have been fantasy, so I hope he does well. Rob?
Yeah, I'd love to see Brentford win, but realistically, I'd be pretty satisfied with the Spurs winning Tony goal as well.
Yeah,
I won't be happy, but I'd be satisfied. I'd be happy with a Brentford win and a Tony hat-trick or something like that.
Never satisfied.
Realistically,
I think Spurs.
We're all fanboying here over here, Tony.
Sorry?
Nice class, actually.
Tony, he's so dreamy.
I love you, Tony.
I think Spurs win. I don't think it'll be
two favorite.
I don't think it'll be as one sided as people think it will be.
Tony.
No,
I think Spurs win. Maybe a 3-2 or a 2-1.
And also with Brentford, we've seen him this season just collapse as well.
Yeah,
I don't know they're a different team with Tony, but we have seen them be very good at collapse.
They do tend to pull a rabbit out of a hat. Like they do tend to knock a giant down every now and then. Not saying Spurs are a giant, but it'd definitely be a giant killing here with how good Spurs can be this season, how bad Brentford can be.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right, we'll move on there. So next up, we're going to go to Anfield, where a preview of the League Cup final. Liverpool at home to Chelsea. Today, the last 7 games between these two teams in all competitions have been draws. 8 goals in 7 games.
Jesus
7
Christ.
draws.
Unreal. Savage stats.
You put the house on a draw, but I think
for the moment that's in it.
Chelsea have been asked for the last season and a half, and they still haven't lost to them in a couple of years. Like it's great. It's crazy. It's crazy stat. We've seen Chelsea. They beat Middlesbrough obviously 6-1 in the EFL Cup, and then drew with Aston Villa. Which, in fairness to them, Aston Villa, we talked about their form. Obviously, their away form wasn't fantastic, but Chelsea are still going. They're in the cup final. They might be in the next round of the FA Cup. They're still, they're in that 6th to 11th place. There's only 6 points between 6th and 11th. Chelsea, I think, are 10th now. A win can, if results go their way, can leapfrog them, over 3-4 teams, and then they're within touching distance of European competition. So, I think the pressure is more so on Liverpool to kind of keep their title hopes. I know they're ahead. They're 5 points ahead with both City have a game in hand, but it's up to them to keep that level going, keep that pace going as well. They're getting Trent back. He played a few minutes in the FA Cup there. Robertson's back as well. He played a few more minutes. So, you know, Liverpool are with Arsenal next week. You think Liverpool need to come out and win this game? Rob, you can start there.
It's a tough one to call. You don't want to see a draw. Well, you do want to see a draw because it's two shit clubs, Zach. But every game now with the news of Klopp leaving the end of the season has to be a cup final for Liverpool, and not just the start like they do at Anfield.
I'm already sick of it.
Yeah, it's not like when teams go to Anfield and it's like, oh, the atmosphere is unreal because they're playing fucking Every Walk Alone through the speakers. Like they have to bring the momentum for the full 90 minutes of every game.
I was so happy that was exposed this year. Fucking
but sure, you know,
it's about time.
The crowd at Anfield is good for 5 minutes and then they stop, and then
that's it.
Good
yeah,
if they're winning, you know, towards the end of the game, whatever. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like, Rob, I'll stay with you for this one. Yeah, obviously Klopp leaving at the end of the season. Liverpool are, you know, next round of the Europa League, next round of the FA Cup. They're still on the top of the league, the Premier League. They're still on for, you know, what can be a successful season. A bit of a fairy tale season.
Quadruple is still on, like, yeah.
Sorry?
The quadruple is still on for them.
Yeah, still on. Yeah, there you go. You wouldn't know. But obviously, you know, Klopp has a tendency. He's only won one league, one FA Cup, and one League Cup. So, you know, who knows? He might not win nothing. Who knows? But yeah, like I touched on, you know, Liverpool just need to keep that momentum going more so, just to keep, because you know City are just going to walk against Burnley, like we said. So Liverpool need to put these draws
and
aside,
especially with Arsenal next week. I think with the pressure of City breathing down their neck, there's no easy games anymore.
Yeah, there's not.
You may as well be racing in fucking Mario
Kart.
That's
why Arsenal kind of fell off last season, because just City were just winning non-stop, 14 wins in a row.
Yeah,
non-stop.
It's needless. Like it's just pointless fucking playing against City, really. Like, it should be a good game. I don't think it's going to be as good as the Villa and Newcastle game, but it's hard to know because Chelsea can just turn up and do good. Like, it's just strange, just stupid. It's hard to know how it would fucking go, to be honest.
Yeah,
I'd hope it would be fantastic. I'm going to go pure Alan Keegan here, and I would love it if Chelsea beat them.
Right, we'll jump into predictions, Johnny.
Liverpool win.
Oisin.
I think, Liverpool win.
Rob.
Let's go 1-1. Keep the draws
going. I'm going to go 1-1. Keep it going. Keep the draws going. Right, we'll move on then. West Ham versus Bournemouth. I think this would probably be a decent game as well. Johnny, start with you. West Ham are in 6th. We talked about, you know, they had a good start to the season. They kind of fell off a little bit, but they've obviously got great results over the Christmas period. They bet United, bet Arsenal. 6th place. They're not far off, you know, Europa League and even Champions League if you want to quietly, you know, mention that. You know, they'll be getting, I think Kudos is coming back as well because Daniel were eliminated. So I think he'd probably be back for this game. But in, you know, comparison to that, you know, Bournemouth themselves are in very good form. Obviously lost 4-0 to Liverpool last week, which was, you know, very kind of an underwhelming performance from them. But, you know, they won the FA Cup pretty well against Swansea, won 5-0. Promises to be a very good game.
Fantastic game, yeah. And it's two teams like West Ham seem to do it every year. They go through a phase of being pretty good, fall apart for a while, and come back and pretty good for a while, and end up in a established position like 6th, like you said. Bournemouth against Liverpool, it kind of, that second half performance kind of fell into place perfectly for Liverpool. It kind of blew them away out of nowhere. You know, it's hard to read too much into that game really for them. They've been, since mid-November, been fantastic, Bournemouth. So it's going to be a fantastic game. You could really pick up. It really goes down the middle of who you want to pick for this one. I'd say it's funny with West Ham because they could go and get hammered any game really. There are a few teams kind of like that this season in the league. They could go on a run and be just pathetic, or they could just put together a string of results like you just mentioned and go back to back with big wins.
Yeah. Rob, anything to add to that one?
I liked West Ham a lot more before they signed Calvin Phillips on loan.
I'm actually glad you brought that up.
I'm raging with that.
And he's wearing number 11, which is very.
What a nobody!
Is he wearing 11? I didn't see
11
number.
But I feel like him and Ward-Prowse would be a very, very good partnership. And, you know,
if Phillips can stay
Phillips. Let's get this straight. Like, let's get this straight. Calvin Phillips is a shit McTominay. That's all he's ever been. So we need to put that out there.
Okay,
straight away.
fair enough. Anyway,
Yeah,
but
and the thing is, you don't. I know West Ham are thinking, oh, they're in a great place and they can just build to it. But there's only so far their success will go, and they might end up ruining it by changing it. You know, don't fix what's not broken. You know.
Is Alvarez back for this game?
I'm not sure.
It's an Alvarez to make, because if he is starting, then you'll probably see him and Calvin Phillips in the middle with Ward-Prowse moving up as a number 10.
Do you think Phillips will start?
He's always been a pretty consistent performer for them.
Well, you're probably right. He probably won't start. He'll definitely come in. That's probably the formation.
Towards the end,
yeah.
Where they put Suchek. Suchek's been good for the season.
He can't just drop him.
You can't just drop it even. Like
a player that played fucking 4 games this season, or four
games.
He hasn't even played 40 games. Yeah, 4 minutes.
But that's not to say he's not fit. He's at Man City. Like, those boys, like they're just the fittest team in the league. So he's going to go in there probably.
Even during an injury crisis, he wasn't there.
Yeah, that was more.
When they needed most, he was waiting for the boys in the fucking hospital beds.
Right.
This time.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Calvin Phillips start this game beside Edison in midfield and Ward-Prowse moving up. And if that's the case, then that'll be the game changer for me. If I see that formation, then I can see West Ham win.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ocean, you're going to go with West Ham win, so we'll go predictions. Johnny.
Yeah.
Bournemouth win.
Bournemouth. This fucking guy. Rob.
It's a tough one. I'm kind of torn between draw or West Ham win. I'm probably going to go for a West Ham win.
Right, I'll probably go with a West Ham win myself. Be close, but I think a West Ham win. Well, I think West Ham probably prevail that if they do get Kudos back, and if he's on the form he was, even in AFCON he was in great form. So, I do think West Ham will win that game. Be a great game though. And then last game of the game week on Friday would be Wolves at home to Man United. I think this will be a cracking game as well. Don't get me wrong. Like Wolves, we talked about Wolves numerous times this season under Gary O'Neill being, a great great team. I mean, even we've seen the reverse fixture at Old Trafford, Wolves maybe didn't deserve to lose the game.
They got whooped.
Yeah. Onana fucking whooping Craig Dawson in the 90th minute, which has been given for fucking numerous penalties over the last couple of weeks. But of course, he got away with it.
Music.
Rob, start with you quickly on that one. We talked about Wolves, Gary O'Neill, incredible. This would be a tough game for United.
Every game is a tough game for United.
I think it's Newport here.
Newport a good side.
Hey, there's a 6-goal thriller, man. 6-goal thriller you're talking about.
I'm pretty sure I remember telling you last week that Newport were a good side.
I believe that happened this.
I mean, they did hold Man City to a halftime draw last year.
Molyneux is a tough place to go this season. Everyone before that opening game between United and Wolves, everyone was saying that Wolves are going to go down. They're shocking. Yeah. And Wolves ran through us, but then every team has run through our midfield this season. It's no great thing anymore. It's almost embarrassing if you don't do it at this stage.
Casemiro being back.
It's a tough game. Casemiro being. He did, but who doesn't? It's just after Christmas time. Come on.
Christmas time.
It's still hanging around.
He looked very
Martinez at the back, and it's just the fact that they're all together. We can have finally Kobe Manu and Casemiro and Bruno in midfield. Finally, brilliant player. Garnacho left again.
Back is huge.
If we could just give the ball to Rasmus Højlund, it's such. I feel bad for him. It was highlighted again the other day. He had one shot in the whole game. Whereas Garnacho and Bruno had like 76, he scored. But it's weird to have a shot.
Like Shrek for the Tip man.
No, Shrek is fat too because he feasts too much. Probably in instances where he should not be feasting at all. But it's just sad for him because you can see it's getting to him. And it's not just fucking mixing.
It will be very frustrating. I mean, again,
like he has the chance to do it all.
When he's up front, doesn't get the ball.
But you know, you have to. Ten Hag has to bite the bullet here. He has to put, and if he wants to start Anthony, because Rashford won't start.
Anthony, the form of his life for Man United now.
Yeah, but put Anthony on the left-hand side and put Garnacho on the right. Garnacho's form this year has been better on the right-hand side with Rashford on the left. Anthony played all of 35 seconds on the left wing, and he got an assist. Fuck this, putting in and shooting.
Left winger in the league.
Put him in the left-hand side, getting those balls into Ramos. That's all you need to do. Same with Garnacho. This shit of inverted wingers is not working for United with Ramos in the front. It hasn't worked all season. It won't work for the rest of the season unless the cunts start passing. And they ain't passing anytime soon. Swap them.
Yeah, Johnny.
Like surely, sorry to interrupt again. Now, this is probably a stupid thing to say, but like, I still think there's an off chance Rashford plays despite all the shit going on now. I think that's been so quickly nipped in the bud. There is the possibility, like usually Ten Hag will just drop him for a few games, but it could be turned around.
That was my question to you, Johnny. Yeah, like, do you think he's gonna?
Pull up your socks.
He'll be on the bench. I don't see him starting.
I don't see him starting either. Yeah.
To be honest, he needs to be dropped. He can't play this.
Do you think there's quickly now? Because I don't want to talk about United too much because we always get sidetracked. But do you think there's a possibility Rashford leaves United in the summer?
Yeah, I think he's gone. I think he's gone.
He seems like the kind of player under Ten Hag. Even though last season, he was in great form, but it seems like this season there seems to be some sort of a risk.
It's
also to do with we've got new owners now as well.
It was public knowledge last year that his brother spoke to PSG.
Yeah,
when Mauricio, and even before that, Mauricio Pochettino publicly said he was interested in Rashford. That was 2 years ago. So the interest is there. It depends on what happens with Mbappe in the summer. You can't sign Rashford and Mbappe as much as Mbappe wants to play with Rashford. The two of them financially cannot play on the same side because Rashford will probably want extortionate wages too. So if Mbappe goes to Madrid, then absolutely watch a bid of about 70-80 million coming in for Rashford, and he'll go. And you'll move on, and that's the end of it.
And it would kill me to see Rashford play for someone else. It would kill me to see him, but his attitude has been shocking.
He's been in trouble a few times this year.
You cannot allow it.
Don't want to stick on United for too long. We'll talk quickly about Wolves. They're in 11th place, so they're ticking along. A win for them with results going their way could see them jump up to 9th place. And
definitely.
They'd be just behind United if to win as well.
Exactly.
United are a pretty good team. But once United play better football, they'll beat the likes of Wolves.
You wouldn't know. I don't know. Wolves are homer.
I don't.
Wolves are playing United this week, right? So we should talk more about United.
Pedro Neto coming back for them and getting a goal in the FA Cup the last day was huge for them because
Pedro Neto was a class act.
He's a dirty. He's
savage.
I don't say he's a dirty player. He's not. He's actually a class player. I don't know why he's a dirty player.
He can. He's known to get a few yellow cards here and there. He's more argumentative than anything else.
Has he still got top assists in the league?
No. He's got to take it over a while ago. He's still top 5 though.
Top 5. Yeah,
he's brilliant. So he's coming back. Kilman's playing well, Dawson's playing well, and Toti Gomes is playing well. They're playing at the back three at the moment, Wolves, and it's doing well for them. So they're going to counter, like no more than United are going to try and counter-attack because that's what we are, counter-attacking team. That's what Wolves are. So it's just going to be a matter of who counter-attacks better, is that really?
Counter-attacking the counter-attack.
Exactly.
All right, lads, predictions for that game. So, Oisin, start with you.
United.
United. Rob.
Fucking Wolves.
Wolves. Johnny.
United. All day.
I'm going to say draw. I'm going to say draw game. I think it'll be a very, very good game, but a tough game.
You would say that.
All right, so that's going to do it for us here on the Party Football Podcast. Rob, Oisin, and Johnny, thank you so much for your input tonight. Do let us know down in the comments your thoughts and predictions for Matchweek 22. Also, do look for us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and do subscribe to the channel here on YouTube as well, as it really does help us out. We'll see you back here next week for another episode of